track is actually the track that I drove down about 40 years ago in my little Tercel, Toyota Tercel. I went inland because you couldn't drive up the highway because that wasn't there. Went inland up into Cervantes, had a look at the pinnacles, and then came back down along the coast and drove down this track through to Lancelin, through the bombing range, because they didn't have a big gate and all that stuff there at that time, and a little patch of cap rock here, and kept on going down the coast on this track right through to Gilderton. It came out at the lighthouse, I think, and that's where I pumped my tyres up and drove home. And back then it took 2 days. These days you zip straight up that highway and turn in at Grey and head back down this little bit or another little patch, because they don't connect anymore, especially through this national park. They just lock every gate, every track, let it all overgrow, and then when there's a fire they wonder why they can't get in there and put the fire out. And in fact this area, you can see, has had a fire through it probably a year or two ago. It burnt everything. And I'm dribbling, aren't I? Yep. Okay, I'll shut up and turn the camera off. There's also, you're allowed to fish in certain areas but not in other areas, and you're not allowed to spearfish in a certain area but you can in other areas, and yeah, it's a bit confusing. This, believe it or not, is a campsite. I wouldn't want to camp here. As you can tell by the foam and bouncing around, this is campsite 10. Not ideal unless you're off the ground. You're not allowed to bring camping trailers and that sort of stuff in here. Basically tents, swags, and that's it. But that, yeah, campsite 10, I would only grab that if all the other ones are chock-a-block full, because it's not a very good campsite. And this one, I've actually camped at this one on a camp stretcher. Campsite 9. And we fished off the rocks here. Didn't catch any fish. The next morning all the dolphins came past, and then they had seals as well. So that's why we didn't catch fish. Again, this is actually a camping area campsite. It's on a really rocky, horrible spot. I camped on a camp stretcher here and I was okay. The others were on air mattresses and they were okay, but they didn't have a good night. And this is campsite 9. That's a marker gone. Oh, it's not a campsite anymore. That's interesting. I've turned it just into a fishing spot. That must be where the missing campsite's gone. As you can see, right on the beach, just above it, in the dunes. Because I remember there used to be 16 camps, and now there's only 15. They've taken number 9 out. And it must be one of these two here. There's two close together. Not exactly a good swimming spot, these two campsites. There's a little bit of a sort of a rocky headland, probably good for fishing, but that's about it. So this one must be number 9 when it used to be number 8. Yep, number 9. Not a bad little spot, reasonably flat. Anyway, let's see if I've got it on here. Camp 9, yep. Goody, goody, goody. It's it is actually protected by the wind from that little hill just to the left of it. There you go, you can fish, you can snorkel, you're not allowed to use spear guns and that here. But further up you're allowed to use spear guns and that, so I don't know, there's someone's made the rule. We must do what they say. This one here, it is a little sandy spot there. It used to be. If you can see it. This is number 8. You could probably put a tent up in there. Swags, whatever. I think we've got this here. Yes. Although it's not listed as a camp, it's now listed as a camp. So get out of there. Now, just up ahead of us, there's a little climb up over a hill. Apart from the cap rock, we're just going to bounce over. Nice and slowly. In fact, I've just taken my feet off everything, first gear, and just plod over the top of that stuff so you're not going to break things. There is a little sandy hill climb just coming up. Ooh, more cap rock. A lot of people have trouble with it. I don't know why. But it's there. If you come in over the top of it this way and you can't get out, turn around and go back to the there's a corner back further and you can turn left and head up that way. That used to be the road there up to the left. Went up through that dune. Back in the old days, it was a good drive. Now this little one here, people get stuck on this and spin their wheels and dig it all in, and I'm not going anywhere. So instead of sitting there just digging massive holes, I'll reverse back down and hit it again. Probably go up so many wombat holes. Get back on the track. Probably go up the right side this time. Now what I'll also do, I didn't run out of power then, I just ran out of momentum. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go low range second up the right side. And yes, if you really want to know, I did spin my wheels there, which I don't normally do, but I didn't want to lose that momentum. If I'd cut the power and all that, I would have not gotten up that. And that's the track coming in that we could have gone up if you didn't want to go out to the coast there. Alright, this campsite, well, again, not really flat. Probably flatter than the other ones. Oh, and this little track, yeah, I remember that. Coming the other way, going up that hill, you can see the wombat holes up there. People just don't know how to drive. Anyway, we're on the coastal side of the dune that we were behind before. So from the beginning when we dropped over the first dune, it actually splits into 2 dunes, and this is it comes around and back into the coastal side of the dunes. And now it's splitting again, and you've got another dune out there, and this dune that we were just in front of. Actually, there's a few people in the campsites, that first campsite, and nowhere else. I do know this place is full of ticks, especially in summer. They love the warmth and going after sweaty, smelly bodies. So that might be why no one's here in summertime. But hey, you got some beautiful beaches. Just lots of little parasite claiming horrible things that dig into you and make a mess. 10 to 8 and 7 to 1. That's weird. I've always come in from grey, not this way, so we'll head this way. This is an interesting one. This is campsite 6 and 7. They're next door to each other. Hopefully no one's in here. If I had a group going, I would book both of these campsites. Use one as your car park, being this little campsite just here, which is number 6, and put all the tents and all that up here. Oh, they've put limestone down. What a bunch of idiots. Yeah, let's put your tent over that. You can get down to the beach just to the right there. Why would they do that? Unreal. Anyway, there's a nice little beach down there. Good little swimming beach, although at the moment you can see it's just chock-a-block full of seaweed. Yeah, I would use this as the sort of the living area, sleeping area, tent area, and park the cars further down. This is campsite 7. There is a little track just ahead of us there that goes down onto the beach. So I'll just check these 6 and 7. Okay, so I need to donk, save one, donk, camp. Actually, yep, you know all about it. I'll turn this off. Alright. This is campsite 6 just here. You could probably put some swags in here. You see a little bit of limestone just ahead of us. Along the coast here they used to have lots of little fishing shacks, and this is the location of one of those shacks. So he's made his little limestone wall somewhere around the hut or the house or whatever he had. That tree out there to the right, which is a hakea or something or other, I would not go for a walk inside that tree or climb around in that tree. It is full of toilet paper under that tree. You are supposed to bring your own toilets, portable toilets, because there are no toilets at any of these sites. So yes, bring along a portable loo. Use the portable loo, not the famine bushland, and you won't have toilet paper and human crap all over the ground at the campsites. Anyway, rant over. Next, if I can get around here. This has got a bit of cap rock right in the corner. Bumpy as shit. This used to be campsite 3 or campsite 4. Can't remember. But campsite 2, this is not a campsite anymore. It's just like a fishing spot. You can get down onto the beach there. Campsite 2 is around that headland there. And ooh, crunch grind smack, silly me. I camped in campsite 2 just after they opened these campsites up. I was the first to camp there, and we stayed there for a week. And the people on campsite 3 came past and called in on their way out, and they were going to stay there for a weekend. And they said they couldn't stay there. I think where they camped was actually up here a little bit. That would have been like the old campsite 4 there, I think. A bit confusing, but yes, they moved them around a fair bit. Yeah, they were in campsite 3, we're in 2. They came in, they were covered in ticks, and they said they put the tent up on the ground, put the kids in the tent, and the ticks were climbing all over the tent. Where we were in campsite 2 was a sandy patch, and so the ticks don't like sand. but for some reason they put yes, I had to go that way because I wasn't going to smash the car on that cap rock. For some reason they put all this mulch down at campsite 3 and it attracted all the ticks, and they just got covered in ticks. And we said, well, you can stay in campsite 2 with us, and they said, no, we've had enough, we're out of here. Well, I don't remember there being so much cap rock on this track. There used to be little patches, but not like this. I guess over the years the sand just sort of gets washed off or blown off the track as you're driving through it, and you end up down onto the bedrock, and in this case it's limestone and it's cap rock, and it's horrible to drive over. And lumps like that, what do you do? Try and go around it. Back wheel's going to go over it. If you do have a big lump like that, big rock, it's always better to drive your tyres over it than try and straddle it and drive your sump over it, or your diffs. Because if you crack a sump or break a diff, you're not going anywhere. If you damage a tyre, you should have a spare with you, or you can repair the tyre and keep going. Here's another little interesting spot. This track originally probably went up over to the left there, and then they put another side track for some reason. Over the years I've been driving up here, it's been digging into the soft sand and the wind's just been blowing it away, and you end up with these big cuttings. You can actually see the sand getting blown there in front of me. That just down in there, that's the beach for campsite 2. If I ever get to come up here again, I'm definitely booking campsite 2. It is a really nice spot. I'll drive in there for you. And I think this was the original campsite 3, just here. Not much just there. That was the original 3, and they got covered in ticks just in there. They put mulch down. But anyway, we had a hard time putting tents up in that one. We got the tents up, we ended up having to pick up chunks of limestone and use those for tent pegs, because you just couldn't get a peg into the ground in there. Into this is campsite 2. It's got its own little driveway. Hopefully no one's in here. Oh, what? People are getting bogged just there. Unreal. Deflate your tyres, you idiots. And then you just cruise over it. Perfect little campsite. You used to have a fire ring in here, and we had a fire going. We were here in winter. Yeah, it's a great little beach. Unfortunately at the moment there's a bit of seaweed out there. When we were here there was no seaweed, and it wasn't as windy. Although, yeah, it was windy, because I remember trying to put up a shelter and it kept on blowing away. But we didn't have the rough, crappy weather and all that. No four driving on the beach. Look out, you might fall off the rocks. We had a bit more beach in here too last time when I camped here. It was actually a really, really nice spot. Anyway, I won't go and annoy them, but they actually camped on the track that goes down to the beach, and I was going to turn it around on that track. I thought they might have been up in the campground or campsite itself, but they weren't. Anyway, that's all the campsites. They're all there, all mapped. If you want to see them, you can go onto Gaia GPS. They will all be up there on public mapping, so you can see where the tracks go and where the campsites are and all that sort of stuff. Well, we're in Nambung National Park anyhow. But there's another one that's a bit weird. You used to be able to get out around to the right there. They closed that off and forced people to come up this hill, which is just a bit strange. Maybe they were hoping that people were going to get stuck coming up this side of the hill and go, oh no, I can't get in here, so I'll have to go home. I've got a really good sunset shot up here. A long time ago, I was sort of hoping that we were going to be up here around sunset, but we've still got another probably 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, I'm not going to hang around that long. Sandy track here. I think there's one more patch of limestone, cat rock, another little hill climb, and then you're basically out of grey. In fact, when you come around here, you can probably see, well, I can see, you might not be able to see because this 360 camera might not show the distance, but that headland out there, there are some houses or huts, fishing tracks. On top there, that's the town side of Grey, another fishing village. Fishing shack village, I guess you call it. Anyway, got to come up here, have a drive along, have a fish, camp up here if you want to. You've seen the campsites, what they're like. There are photographs of the campsites on the Gaia thing as well, Gaia maps. I took some photos and linked them to the GPS points so you can see what the campsites are like. Yeah, get out, get up here. Winter time, yeah, it does rain occasionally. Summertime, it can be very hot, but you've got beautiful beaches. And a great little fun track to drive along. It's not a hard track, it's good fun. Alright, that'll do. I will see what I can find for you next time.